guys, it's Joy, and today's video, it probably won't go all the places you think that it will, and a lot of my videos tend not to, either because I give different perspectives or, hey, sometimes I'm doing really sarcastic titles and stuff, so I understand if it can confuse people. But you guys know I've been really following Eugenia Cooney and her journey and what has been going on with her. And over the last couple weeks, I haven't done too many videos or really kept up too much simply because I've, been kind of diving into the Shane Dawson and Trisha Paytas. Or as I've been saying, Sharon Darson and Tarsha Pardis. Who was it? Somebody in the comments cracked me up. They went Marlon Ardems. I'm saying, yes! I don't know why I've been putting ARs in people's names, and it's really meant as no disrespect, because I guess my name would be Jar. Jar Sparkle. I don't know. It just makes me giggle. I think I'm just really bored. But I wanted to talk about this because I had seen this, and I want you guys to know I have some clips, and they're all from a place called Love Eugenia Cooney. Eugenia. What is Eugenia? Eugenia Cooney. I think that was the original Eugenia Cooney News that got shut down, and they're a clip channel. So if you're ever wanting to keep up with her, and God bless their souls for this. I think they're the ones that sit through all of Eugenia's streams and find interesting things and put them online. And there's been one that I've been hearing about, and I didn't see, I just kind of saw a little bit here and there, but I don't know. I saw it and I was like, I think I have a little bit of insight on this and I'd like to talk about it because, as much as I've been back and forth with Eugenia, only in the sense of I feel like I can understand both sides of the argument. In the argument I'm talking about in terms of why she should either be on, allowed to be on social media or not, while I can understand those. I also love to look at conspiracy theories, and you guys know me. I'm not a super fan of when people are being mean and bullying other people. So I saw something interesting, and that is that Eugenia is saying that she's learning to drive. And of course, Eugenia can't just say I'm learning to drive. It has to come with a ton of controversy. Regardless of everything else, I'm going to tell you, I feel sorry for her. And not that she's asking for pity or sympathy, but it's I just feel like she's in a position where she can't do anything right. And I know how that feels on YouTube. I know when it comes to me, I'm somebody who's super not well liked for just a lot of rumors and BS. And, and in many ways, there are a lot of times where I feel like, well, I'm crapped if I do, crapped if I don't. And that just happens in life. We get in these weird catch-22s. So I can I feel like I sympathize with her there. But I want you guys to hear it from her own words, and I'm going to analyze what she's saying, and we will dive in, because I think I can actually provide some insight into this. As somebody who has chronic illness and that should be on literal disability, I'm just fighting actually having to do it and trying to make my own way in the world, getting myself into remission as much as possible. And for me, I think when we calculated it, I would end up making $300 a month. A lot to live off of because society loves us sick people. So let's go ahead, let's take a look, and then I'll break down some of this. Here we go.
Hi guys, so I hope you guys are all having a good day so far. I actually today, this is crazy, I actually today did my first driving lesson. Yeah. I don't think driving's been as bad or as scary as I kind of thought it might be. So I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm SpongeBob or something, and I was how am I ever gonna learn? But hopefully at some point, pretty soon, hopefully. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy too, because I know before some people were like, Eugenia, that's so pathetic, you can't drive yet, what's wrong with you? But now I see some people are like, Eugenia, you can't drive, why do you think you can drive? You're not equipped to drive, basically. So I don't know, if anyone doesn't want me to drive, then I'm sorry, but I think I should be able to learn. So yeah, but anyways, I hope you guys are doing good. And yeah, I don't know, I'm so awkward in my story sometimes, I feel like. So if this is really pointless, then sorry, but yeah, just learning stuff, I guess. I lie about my hair? Well, you see, that just kind of proves that you don't really know. No offense, I'm not saying in life or anything. I'm not saying you don't know what you're talking about with anything, but it does kind of show that you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to me. Because regardless of what you want to say, my hair is real. It's not fake. See, you can literally see, I know then people are gonna be like, oh, she's got a bald spot, but it's I can show you my scalp. This is my real hair, whether people like it or not. There's also people that literally think I'm pretending to learn to drive. They're relating it to things that literally have nothing to do with me finally learning to drive. Like, they think I'm, like, faking it or something for, like, other reasons. I'm like, guys, I'm not. Like, if people want to believe that, I guess whatever. But, like, they're relating it to literally things that, like, why they think that I'm doing it that have nothing to do with it whatsoever. Thank you for the bits,
Eugenia is the
Axela.
biggest conspiracy since Area 51.
Apparently, people like to make conspiracies about literally everything. It's insane. It's just like, thank you,
Do
Harmony
you have
Rose.
to be in certain physical health to get a license?
Well, I mean, guys, like, my health is doing good. Like, I am doing good health-wise and everything. But no, to get a license, I mean, with a permit thing, I mean, you have to have, like, your eyesight checked, because obviously, like, with your eyesight, they have to, like, make sure that, like, you're able to see, like, the different sides of the roads and everything. So when you're getting a permit, they make you do, like, a very, like, brief eye test. But no, you don't, like, I don't know what some people think. I mean, I don't know how it works everywhere, but no, like, regardless, you don't do, like a medical exam or anything like that. I mean, I'm taking classes. I already have my permit and everything. But all you do is take an eye test, which I passed just fine. So, yeah. But it's just so crazy. It's like, I don't know. Maybe some of these people just are kind of, like, sad in their own lives, or, like, I don't know. And hopefully, like, they get to a happier place, you know? I just can't please everyone.
A lot of people are bitter and hateful, but
Thanks,
there are
Harmony
many others who
Rose.
don't care about your license or your hair but just wish that you would not live under this cloud of anorexia and instead be truly happy. Wishing you the best. So much love.
Well, thank you, Harmony Rose, for wishing me the best and everything. And I really appreciate you, like, being nice and everything, and I really appreciate the people that, like, do care about me and everything. But yeah, you know, I am doing good and everything, so, like, yeah. So yeah, don't worry or anything like that, because, like I said, I am doing good, but much love to you, and I really appreciate you being nice. Like, I don't know. I saw this one comment on my Instagram today that was like, just great, Eugenia. Now you're driving, and now you'll probably kill yourself and then kill other people with you. And I was like, no, that's, like, the last thing I want to do. Like, actually, like, that's, like, the scariest thing with me with driving is, like, I just, like, don't want to accidentally kill anyone or anything like that, or, like, you know, so I try to be really careful. Like, I try to be really, really careful, even, like, with practicing and stuff. So, yeah.
All right, guys, as I always do, I have my notes. And again, I was actually pretty excited to do this video because this is a fun, easy video for me, and I can debunk a lot of what is being said because I've been through it in different ways. So here we go. She was talking about doing her first driving lesson. And I want you guys to know some of the criticism on this too before I get into that. Some of the criticism has been that her mother controls, her mother and her family are super controlling of her. They're mean. They might be, you know, the A word to her, A, B, and then a U. And they're not super nice. And that Eugenia doesn't even know how to drive. Like, the big criticisms, like from Jacqueline Glenn, is that when Eugenia went to hang out with them, you know, when they secretly 5150'd her, that when all of that happened, she shows up with a driver and the driver's real aggressive and she doesn't know how to drive, and people think that her parents aren't allowing her, don't allow her to learn how to drive, and it's controlling, and that she's in her mid-20s, why doesn't she know how to drive? And you know, I can agree with a lot of those assessments where I'm like, yeah, that does look weird. But there may be more going on than what we're aware of, and that's what I want to point out, because now she says, as you guys saw, she's actively taking the steps to get her driver's license. She says she has her permit, she's in classes, and everybody is still being mean to her. So she needs to grow up and actually stop being a child and stop being in this childlike state and get away from her parents and get a driver's license. And now that she does, she's just lying or she's going to endanger people. Like, she can't win. And I don't know, and sometimes that happens in life. I've gone through that quite often, where it's like you are caught between two bad decisions, which is the least amount of damage to you and other people. That happens in life, and that sucks. But let me just kind of go over what she said, and I'll give you some insights. She says she did her first driving lesson. She said driving isn't as scary as she thought it would be. And she doesn't know, she feels like SpongeBob, like she'll never learn to do it. I felt that way. Oh my gosh, it took me. I was one of those kids, actually. Everybody was so excited to get their license. Like, I drug my feet because I didn't want to do it. And it's funny, now, years later, it all makes sense why. She hopes at some point she will learn eventually. She says it's crazy because people are saying she's so pathetic she can't drive. And what's wrong with you for not knowing how to drive? She says, and now people are saying, Eugenia, you can't drive. Why do you think that you can or that you should? And if someone doesn't want me to drive, I'm sorry, but I think I should be able to learn. I hope you guys are doing good. And yeah, sorry, I'm awkward in this stuff. I guess I'm just learning. And it's just, you know, I'm just sitting here going, okay, so people are mad because she's not being independent enough and she takes the steps and it's still criticism. But then again, like, welcome to the internet, and especially welcome to the internet when you have an audience of her size. But, you know, there are some valid criticisms I'll get into in a minute. And then she talked about being frustrated, because this is another big one. And I feel like this is something that's so stupid I won't cover it. Like, I won't talk about. There are a lot of things with Eugenia that the criticisms and the theories, I'm like, that is so stupid and that is so below the belt. Like, I have no interest in that. And she's frustrated because people think she's lying about her hair, that her hair's not real. And she's like, and she's shown her scalp many times. There's been a lot of confirmation it's real hair. And I think for a lot of people, they're coming from the aspect of, well, she has an eating disorder, and as a result, your hair falls out. Well, here's the thing, guys. Not every symptom of something will equate. Every person has to have that symptom. For instance, I'm asthmatic. Some people have severe asthma, and some it's mild, and some it's moderate. Some comes on from histamine, like me. Some comes on from allergies, which that all ends up tying to histamine. Some is exercise-induced. Funny enough, they're finding links to histamine because when you exercise, your histamines go up. For a normal person with a functioning body, it doesn't bother them, but for people like me with histamine disorders, it can. So, you know, I remember when I went through eating disorders, my hair was so lush and so full. And I would see it coming out in clumps, but nobody else could see it. And I think it also bothers me because, and I'll have a video coming out about this soon. If you guys can see, I don't know if you can see it on this video because I washed my hair just recently. I'm having some hair thinning issues. I have probably for the last 6 months, it's been a progression, and it has to do with not just the diet that I'm on, but we think my body is not absorbing nutrients and minerals well, on top of the fact that I've been on an extremely restrictive diet for my health. And then I also lost in the last 17 months, I've lost, how much weight have I lost? I'm down to 135 now from 170. So I've lost 135 pounds. So right around in there. And when you lose a lot of weight quickly, even though it's not, maybe for some, to me it doesn't seem super quick, but maybe for some people it is. When you lose a lot of weight and you lose it quickly, your hair can fall out. So that is something. So you'll see like little, I have like even right here, can you see it? Like little hairs trying to come in. I don't know if you can see it on here. And you'll see little like tufts of hair and stuff growing weirdly on me. So I can, you know, I have a little bit of, I think I have, because of what I'm going through, I have a little more sensitivity about hair. There's all kinds of issues that can happen with hair. And then people made fun of me for my hair before because I couldn't always do it because I was too sick. And now that I, you know, am well enough that I can present myself a little better, I'm like, my hair. But, you know, that's okay. My hair will get better. But yeah, stuff like that, I feel for her because I'm like, first of all, like, who cares? Okay, if it's not her real hair, who flipping care? I don't know, like, sometimes it seems like people, like, some of the criticisms about her I totally get and I think are good conversation pieces, and some of them it's like, that's just petty. Like, I don't know. I've had people ask me in the comments, are you going bald? Is your hair falling out? And it's like, it has been falling out, but I don't think I'm going bald. My understanding is this is a normal part of the process that I'm in. It just sucks. It's not a fun one. So she says people are saying she's pretending to learn to drive and relating it to things that have nothing to do with her. She says she's finally learning how to drive. People think she's doing it for other reasons. And she wouldn't say what. She wouldn't allude to what people are saying. And she said, you know, guys, she's not. That's not the case. She said they can believe it if they want to. They are relating it to things on why they think I'm doing it that have nothing to do with it. She says people make up conspiracies about literally everything. That is true. People on the internet, it's just rampant now. They will make, I mean, you know, a lot of times, what is it? There's a certain law, I forget what it's called, but it's like the simplest answer a lot of times is, or the easiest answer, like the most probable answer is typically the answer of something. And that just happens, especially when you get into these weird drama circles or even commentary circles of YouTube. Everything has to be one stupid conspiracy and everybody has to be the most ultimate evil person. But then I can also understand why people do it, because so many YouTubers are just attention-seeking pieces of crap. So I like, it sucks. I'm like, I can see both sides of it, and I'm like, I agree with both sides to an extent. So she's, and I'll tell you what I think she's referring to. I think people are probably trying to say, you're trying to cover for your eating issues and all the criticism you've got. So you're trying to act like you're taking steps to being independent, but you aren't and you never will, that you're just lying to everybody to try to get the heat off of you. I would assume that's what people are saying. I don't know if that's the case. Just knowing how the internet works and these drama cycles, that's just kind of my take on it. And then somebody asked, don't you have to be in a certain physical health standard to get a certain license? This is what I'm going to talk about because I've been through this. She says, no, her health is doing good and she's good health-wise. To get a permit, you have to have your eyesight checked. She says they make sure you are able to see the different sides of the roads. They make you do a brief eye test for the permit. She says, I don't know how it works everywhere. She's like, but here you don't need a medical exam or anything like that. She says, I'm taking classes, but I have my permit. She said, I passed my eye test just fine. It's so crazy. Maybe some of these people are sad in their own lives. I don't know. Hopefully they'll get to a happier place. Now I will tell you from being in the state of Oklahoma, and I've gotten a driver's license in Oklahoma. What I mean by that is I didn't get it renewed. I had to retake everything in Oklahoma, and I've done it in Missouri. I can tell you both times she is correct, at least in my states, and probably whatever state she's doing this in. You do an eye test. Yes, you absolutely do an eye test. But otherwise, no, there is no health exam. It's not like you have to that would mean anybody who's trying to get a permit or a license would have to come in with a doctor's note or that's the other thing. That would mean that the DMV would have to they would have to accept doctor's notes and get them verified, which would be just a crazy process as it is. They would have to do that, or they would actually have to have medical professionals who can read, your medical records, but then HIPAA laws. That's another thing. Where would HIPAA laws fit into that? So no, I've never heard of that. But there is one exception, and I know this because I had to go through it, and this is actually very exciting, so I'll talk about this. One of the big milestones in me getting better with my illness was getting my driver's license back. When I say back, what happened? Was it taken? Did I get a bunch of tickets? No. It expired and it lapsed so long that there was no way I could get it renewed either in where the state that I am originally from, Missouri, or in Oklahoma, because I was so sick and I really wasn't driving at that point anyway. But back in October, November of 2019, I ended up landing a contract with my roommate to do some marketing. Got to manage another marketing campaign, and it was a shorter campaign. I think it was like 6 weeks long, and it went up until December. But I had to have a driver's license to do it. So I scrambled to get, I think I arrogantly thought I could just get it renewed quickly, and I couldn't. And I realized, oh my God, I've got to redo everything, and I got terrified. And I'll tell you why. Does this make sense when I say I'm a good driver because I'm a bad driver? I'm not good at driving, but it makes me really good at driving. I go always slower than everybody else, so you will always see me in the right lane. I hate driving. I hate it. Even when I was younger, I think I was behind several months and actually, with the ages that you get to getting your permits and stuff, pretty sure I was behind on that because I didn't really want to learn to drive. And you would think, wouldn't I want to be independent? And the answer is yes, but not through driving. This is how I've always explained to people. I'm like, there are thousands of pounds of steel and fire coming at you from every which direction. It is overwhelming. It is terrifying. There's too much going on. I don't like it. It's draining and it's scary to me. Now, I'm not saying every time I get in the car, it's terrifying, but it's always been very draining to me. There's just too much going on. It's too much stimulus. Now I understand I have a nervous system condition. And across the board, this is common for people with nervous system conditions. We go on sensory overload. So it is very difficult for me to drive, especially if I'm sick. So there's a point in all this, I promise. When I went and got I passed the permit test, and I couldn't believe I passed it on the first try because I think I was down to I could only fail one more question, and I ended up getting it. And the problem was, even though I was good, I took all the tests, I memorized all the info, they worded everything a bit differently there, and the laws between Oklahoma and Missouri are slightly different, and I was still really sick and I really couldn't use my brain that much. And I was so terrified of that test, and I was so proud of myself that I passed. I was just insanely proud. I remember being so, like, I felt so empowered because I'm like, okay, I got through the first test. But guys, when I first took my driving test when I was 16, it was a horrible experience. It was really bad. I took it twice. The first time was so bad, and I didn't understand what I was doing or what the person was telling me to do. He had me pull over and like go back. I didn't really get to finish. And the guy yelled at me and was really mad at me, and I cried. The second time though, and then there's some interesting points to it. I had a family member, a parent who taught me how to drive, who's just yells and screams and is really mean and really doesn't teach you. But then I had a cousin who, like a really chill cousin, who actually took me through the driving route and talked to me and just kind of explained how to do things chill and how to pass the test, and I did. Funny enough, the second time when I was like 16, I ended up just like, I was just chit-chatting with the guy the whole time. It was like towards Christmas time, and he was talking about what to get his grandkids, and I was telling him different things, and so I passed and I was really happy. But getting my license was like a traumatizing experience. And so I was told myself, I'll never be able to do that again. And here I am, not only faced with having to do it again when driving's already really hard for me, but I was right out of remission with my illness. I was like, can I even get in the car and do that? I was so scared. But I was so excited when I got my permit, right? A couple years ago now, that when I went in to the license office or whatever that, to talk about the permit, they have to ask when your license lapsed, why, or there's something like that. And I just said, oh, I've been really sick, but I'm okay now. And he's like, what do you mean sick? And you guys know I like to share information because I'm always like, I could help somebody. And then they stamped me as not being able to get my license because I have, somewhat of a, POTS isn't, like, I say heart condition because it's easier for people to understand. It's hard to explain. It is, but it's not. It's a nervous system condition that messes with your heart, but your heart can be fine. Like, if you could do scans of my heart's perfectly healthy, but my nervous system does things to make my heart do crazy stuff, if that makes sense. And POTS is just another form of dysautonomia. It's a long story. So, like, POTS is the heart issue, dysautonomia is nervous system, but they're all connected to your nervous system. And then I had to get a doctor's note, and I had X amount of time to do this. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I ended up having to talk to my cardiologist, and my cardiologist had only seen me like needing assisted help in walking and having to lay flat on floors most of the time. And it was a few months, it was about, I saw him 4 or 5 months after they had seen me and how bad I was. And he saw that I'd lost a good chunk of weight. And basically, to give me my license, he had me walk around his office unassisted to see how I was. And then he signed off for my license. But I didn't know, I had no clue that, like, if you give any indication you have a medical issue, you'll have to get a doctor's note. And I guess it makes sense, but I just didn't know. And I was like, oh, what have I done? But, and then on top of that, I did finally pass. I had to take the driver's test twice, but I passed. So happy, and it was really empowering to not only do that, but I did it when I was sick. I did it when I was really, really sick. And I was like, am I going to have an episode in the car? What's going to happen? I was very scared, and I did it. So my point is to say, with this little bit of a long story about re-getting my driver's license again, I don't know why people are coming up with this thing. You have to have medical clearance. Only if, from what I saw, at least in Oklahoma, only if you were to disclose something to those people would that happen. Now, I don't know the rules well enough where if she would disclose that she's suffered from eating disorders, if they would or not. I don't know. I don't know the laws that much. I'm just telling you what I've gone through. But yeah, even if that were the case, it would just take a doctor's note. And we know, or I can say we're assuming something is wrong with Eugenia because she keeps getting thinner and thinner. So if she does have a doctor, a regular doctor that knows about her condition, that person may or may not be, and I don't know because we don't know who they are, or if they exist, they may not be the best person for that. But we hear that all the time about doctors who will sign off on things and people pay them off for stuff. Like, it gets real tricky there. But I wanted to just at least clear that up because that's not true. Of all the things you can criticize and be concerned with when it comes to Eugenia, that one I'll just tell you, I'll just call it, it's not true. It's not at all true. And then, so people then asked her, she says, so somebody had sent her basically a message saying, we're concerned because of what we think you have this eating disorder. And it was a nice message. And she says, Thank you for the person who sent the message, and thank you for wishing her the best. And she says she appreciates the kindness and she appreciates the people in her audience that care about her. She says she is doing good. She says she is not sick and she's okay. And then she said much love to that person. And then she was talking about the fact that on Instagram she saw these comments. We'll go over it in a second. She says, I saw this on one comment on my Instagram that just said, just great, Eugenia. Now you're driving and you'll kill yourself and you'll kill other people. And I was like, no, that was the last thing I wanted to do. That's the scariest thing with driving. And I don't want to accidentally hurt somebody. I try to be really careful, really, really try. And I'm practicing. So I want to go over those tweets with you guys, or I guess Instagram. What do you call them? It's not a tweet. It's just a comment, right? I don't know, an Insta comment. I'm going to go over those with you guys so you can kind of see what people are saying, and then I'll kind of wrap this up. So here's one that says, been in a wheelchair, you'll be in a wheelchair soon. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think that's necessary. It's really not necessary. And then here's another one. Sis, all I could think was, what if she passes out due to malnutrition while she's driving or something worse? Here's another one that says, same, her nerves appear to be a wreck. That's what's important while driving, and this is worrying, to be honest. Here's one. Came to the comments to see if anyone was voicing that concern, which I understand why people wouldn't, but it truly is a danger. She already puts herself in danger every day. And people, she already puts herself in danger every day, and now she's putting others in danger. I hope she can get back into rehab and start working towards recovery again before she harms anybody. And somebody else says, it takes a lot of brain power, energy, and sharpness to drive. I'd be worried that your responses aren't quick enough. So I have a couple thoughts on this. I understand people's concerns, and I do agree. Now, I do have my license, but I do not drive almost at all. And if I do, we're talking at very short distances, like up to a drive-through to get burger patties and back. And it's literally down the street. It's like I can take, a couple back roads in my neighborhood. Everything is, I'm very happy that I live in a nice neighborhood, but everything is also super close. In fact, I have an ER that's literally like 2 blocks down the road from me, which that for me is heaven. You know what I mean? Simply because if something happens, that was one of the big reasons when we moved where we did, because there was a peace of mind that the ER is right there if I need it. Because you guys know my situation and it's been scary. So let's talk about this. When it comes to the driving, I don't go very far. I don't think it's safe for me to. I think many days I probably could, but I'm not going to risk myself or other people being on the road if I don't have to. And I've been in positions where I had to and there was no choice, and that's a very terrifying place to be in. And when it comes to Eugenia, I understand people's concerns and I can sympathize with people and how they feel about this. At the same time, here's a question I want to pose. How many people, or we'll say especially women, but this goes for people across the board. Let's think about this. How many people have eating issues or eating disorders that drive consistently? The thing is, the majority of the women that you will meet in your life, if they don't suffer at that moment, at some point they have suffered with some type of eating disorder or eating issue. I'm not telling you that because I'm trying to be dramatic. I'm saying that is the truth of it. Most women on some level go through it. And and for a long time we were taught, shut up, this is just kind of part of being a woman. And if you aren't super thin, then you're just gross and you're discardable. And I'm really happy because over the last 10 years with social media coming into power, that narrative has been very quickly flipping. And I'm so glad for that. Because we are not our bodies. We have to always remember that. But I'm also always harping on the fact that so many women would love to be thin and play by the rules and want to be in good health, and they can't get there no matter what they do. And I also think that's an issue to be explored too, and that's something I talk about a lot. But I just want to say there are so many people who drive around perfectly with eating disorders. I understand people's concerns, but there is a hypocrisy, because I think sometimes we only think an eating disorder is what it is, or it is bad enough if we can see it. And many times that's not the case. Many times a person can be full blown into a really bad eating disorder situation, and they might look normal. Their body doesn't get to that point. Maybe they have a physical health issue going on where they, kind of like I did. I've had weight issues much of my life. I could do things perfectly and not lose weight, and it didn't make any sense. And now that I'm older and understand my health profile, it does. So I don't think we can judge a book by its cover when it comes to this topic and when it comes to eating disorders. I understand why people would be concerned, and I do think there is some cause for concern, but I also think this. So many people have health issues and eating disorder issues who shouldn't be driving, who have to drive every single day, because that is a system we have set up. Unfortunately, I think it was Henry Ford, I think it was the Fords, correct me if I'm wrong, that they ended up buying out in the Midwest. Like, I know this happened in Kansas City. They bought out the majority of the transit systems and did away with them. So to get around, you had to buy a car. I mean, it's the most evil thing on the planet to do, but it's brilliant. And as a result, when it comes especially to the middle of the country, we have almost no transit systems. Like, if we're lucky, we get buses. Now, that's a bit different for bigger cities, of course, like the New Yorks, the Chicago's, Seattle's got a good transit system. That's going to be different for on the coast. Not everywhere on the coast does, though. And in bigger cities, right? But most of us don't. And there's no way to get around without driving. I think anything empowering that she can do for herself and to take steps towards that is a very good thing. Remember, when it comes to eating disorders, one of the big reasons women have eating disorders, not everything, but this is a big theme many times for women, is not feeling like they're in control. And it's a sense of wanting to be in control. And if Eugenia's life has been as controlled as people like Jacqueline say that it has, then this could only be a benefit to her. We can argue whether or not it's healthy for her to be driving or whether she's physically able to. The reality is, unless we're her doctors, we don't know. We are speculating based off of what we see with her body. But just because things look a certain way doesn't mean they are. But there's that sneaky part. She's admitted she's had eating issues and she went and got treatment, albeit it was somewhat forced from Jacqueline. I know there's some give and take on that, but she did actually at some point go seek some treatment and try to get better, but she looks noticeably thin. Does she look noticeably thin because her body's messed up from the eating disorder? And it just ended up going back that way? Or is it because she's back to the ways in which she mistreated herself? I don't think we know. But from my perspective, I am going to go out on a limb, and I don't think she's lying. I could be totally wrong. I don't know her. I know she's been incredibly kind to me, which I'm very grateful for. But I'm just going to go out on a limb here, and I applaud her for taking these steps. Because any step to empower herself at the end of the day, at some point, will help it click for her to empower her to go get the help that she needs in whatever capacity she needs that help. And I am all for that. I don't care who you are. I always want to empower my fellow women and my fellow sisters to step into their power, or anybody. Reclaim their power and do what you can to have more tools for independence and more tools to feel like your own fully functioning person, because in my opinion, you deserve that. So I am not going to criticize her at all for this. I think this is a great thing that she's doing it. And if people are so concerned, they should be concerned about the fact that the majority of women and many people have eating disorders and health issues driving around because they have no other choice or no other option. And we should work towards getting better transit systems. It's better for the environment. It's so much better for our pocketbooks, and it makes us healthier, more independent people who don't have to go into debt just to get a job. Okay, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up, like the video, also subscribe and hit that notification button so you can know when I upload. Comment, what do you think? Do you think I'm on track here? Do you think I'm off base? I'm always curious to hear what y'all say. Let me know, and please share this content with people that you think might enjoy it or that would jive with it. I would love to reach as many people as I can. All right, y'all, that's it for me. Good job, Eugenia. I love watching her empower herself. That's why I did that video the other day, it was a while ago, where she was standing up for herself when it came to Jacqueline. And even though I'm not sitting and faulting Jacqueline, I thought it was awesome because she doesn't tend to stand up for herself a lot, at least online. And I was like, good girl, like the more you do that, the more you empower yourself, the better I think things can get. So very happy for Eugenia. All right, guys, take care. Lots of love, lots of blessings. I'm giving everybody hugs. Mwah. Kisses. I will see you soon, and everybody stay healthy and stay well. Bye, guys.